I will even go over to your place. Do. Are we live? Testing, testing. Death to the patriarchy. We are definitely live. Yep. And I haven't set off my... There. Hello there, everybody. Welcome to Pride Station. I am so lucky that I am joined by PheonaColdfireElveck. Yeah, did I get that correct?
Yep.
Phe for short.
Yes.
Keeping my...
Hello.
So, she has joined me here in Pride Station. She is the first truly unprepared person to come aboard. It was a spur of the moment thing, I guess. So...
Yeah. Nothing wrong with winging it.
No, not at all. We are all good at that. So, yeah, I did redo the seating, the couches here. I've been thinking about that, so it's a little distance. If you want to sit by the fireplace, we can do that.
Okay.
It's completely up to you, really.
Right, I don't mind sitting over here. This works for me.
Yep. Excellent. All right. There we are. Comfy. I guess sitting down on this for a long amount of time would make you... anyway, no matter. So yeah, let's get to it then.
Alright, sounds good.
Yeah, and of course I remember not a single question, so luckily I have them written down. So let's start with the very basic, which is... Who are you?
Alright, well, I am in-game PheonaColdfireElveck. I go by Phe for short. I am the wife of Elveck, and I am a stay-at-home mom who is also a gamer.
Yep.
So, anything else you want to know?
Well, kind of depends on you. I would like to know lots of stuff, but it's... as I have said, that don't share more than you want to, really.
Okay, well, I'm also an artist and a writer, though not professionally on either end. I do offer commissions on my artwork, of course. But, let's see, what else? I'm also a furry, like Elveck. I am also bi-curious. And, well...
Alright. Yeah. Oh yeah, speaking of the artist part, there's something I actually have to tell you. And that is that the Pride Engineer's engineer was made by you.
Yes, it was. I recognize my handiwork.
Yeah, I just want everybody to know. And once more, thank you for that. It looks perfect.
You're very welcome. Anytime.
I was really, really happy. The perfect engineer there.
I'm very glad. I always like to hear good feedback from my work.
Oh, you enjoy good feedback. Okay.
Well, any feedback, really. I am, of course, my own worst critic, as most artists are, and view my own work very harshly.
Well, from what I've seen, you are very talented, so, yeah.
Thank you very much.
Yeah. So, second question. Gaming. Why do you game? Also, what do you game?
Well, I mostly game for, to relax and, enjoy, getting to be someone else for a while, kind of thing. Like, not be constricted to the requirements of being a human. I do all kinds of games, computer games, console games. I'm mostly into MMORPG games, as well as sandbox games. I love to build and stuff like that.
Mm.
Let's see. Originally, when I very first started gaming, it was pretty much my only form of social interaction because I was very much shy and not very big on talking to people. I had a lot easier time meeting people and communicating with people online, where I could be pretty much whatever I wanted to be. It kind of helped. Let's see how to put it. Kind of helped me to open up a bit more and get past my shyness and self-consciousness.
Okay. Gaming as a way of personal growth, then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I spent a lot of time playing World of Warcraft back in college, and it went pretty well until my roommate got tired of me being in the room all the time and locked me out of my room, told me to get a social life.
Fair enough. That's quite understandable, I would say. So yeah. But that's one aspect of gaming that you brought up there that's kind of important, I think. How much you actually can learn from it and grow.
Yeah, it's actually surprisingly a lot more than normal, or a lot more than a lot of people think. Most people just think that games rot your brain and cause you to become horrible delinquents and stuff, but it's not really true.
No. No, not at all. I can be just as lazy whether I'm gaming or not.
True.
So, yeah. So, what is your impression of the gaming community with the topic of diversity and tolerance in mind?
Well, so far, other than that one person, I believe, that came on that got chased off the Discord, so far, this community has been fairly open and fairly diverse. And fairly tolerant as far as I've noticed.
Yeah, okay. I am thinking not so much about the community that we are in, and I will very much appreciate that you are a part of it, just saying. But, if you think about the gaming community as a whole, because I kind of suspect that you have been to other communities,
Yeah, that I have. Well, as a whole, I've been both in very tolerant, very open, very diverse communities, as well as fairly intolerant and closed-minded communities. I've seen both ends of the spectrum. It really depends on the community and the type of game that the community goes for as to a lot of the people's viewpoints.
Okay. The types of game?
Yeah, like some people, well, some communities that center around certain games seem to tend to be a little more closed-minded than others, though it's not always the case. As with everything, it varies from person to person. But I have noticed that some of the gaming communities I've been in that focus on a certain game have been different than other communities that focus on different games.
Okay, I'm very interested in what kinds of games, because there has been some mention of it earlier. Dutch has mentioned, I think it was Counter-Strike as one of the worst ones, but well.
Well, think for a moment on any specific examples. Rust is one for sure that is definitely very specific in their viewpoints and stuff. Let's see. I'm drawing a blank all of a sudden.
Yeah, I know how it is. By all means, if you want the music, if you find the music distracting, please tell so. Just saying.
But it's not really distracting. I do enjoy this kind of music.
Goody. Yeah, okay, but that's actually very interesting. And something that maybe people that with a lot more experience and skill than either of us, I guess, should look into.
Yeah, especially since my experience and skill mostly centers around like sandbox games or a very specific genre of games.
Yeah.
So, like I said, I'm not very big on like first-person shooter games or things like that. The only first-person shooter games I really ever enjoyed was Army of Two and Gears of War. So.
Okay. Yeah.
I was actually fairly vicious on Gears of War.
Oh, all right. Cool. I have seen it. I just haven't played it. But yeah, okay.
It's been a long time since I've played it myself, but
it's becoming an old franchise. So yeah, I guess it just died out a little.
Yeah, back in the day, I was really big about chainsawing people with the chainsaw gun.
Wasn't that like half the game and then some?
Pretty much.
So yeah, I skipped this with Grevin, or almost. So it will be even more of a coming from the blind side from you. Yeah. So why should people care about diversity and tolerance in the community? Would it not be easier just and simpler, by all means, to just not talk about things like gender, ethnicity, sexual preference or orientation, as well as, similar and other potentially controversial topics?
Well, in my opinion, the reason why it is really why it is important in the community is it helps more people feel more welcome in a way to the community if they feel that they are able to talk about things that, although they may be controversial or may touch on sore spots with some people, that they can express their opinions and not be at the end of severe backlash for it. It can help a lot with making people feel more open, more in tune with the community, maybe even help them to connect better with certain people and maybe find things that they didn't know about that they may also enjoy outside of the community. Yeah, like that too, and also it helps the community seem more mature in a way if they can talk about things that are controversial and somewhat touchy without raging and blowing up and being just intolerant and closed-minded.
Yeah, I hear you. That's one thing I have noticed on our community. People out themselves maybe once a month or twice a month on average, as part of the normal talk we have. Like it's not a thing that people are saying, oh, let's out ourselves, but it's just something that happens as part of the normal tone.
Yeah.
And I, for one, find that really nice. Because we talk about this and that. I'm a furry. I'm queer. I'm kinky. I'm a polyam. And then people just move on and talk about the next thing.
And nobody's like, "Oh my goodness, you're that? How could you? That's horrible."
Yeah.
Yeah. Because being with that kind of attitude, it just kind of makes people close off and not want to join the community or open up to people.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. That's one of the reasons why I have been in the community for that long. Because you can be basically yourself as long as you're as you behave, as it were. You know, we are a diverse group of many colorful people, let's say.
Yes.
But yeah, yeah. So, yeah, I know that you are in fact a leader of in the community.
Yes, recently promoted to.
Yeah. So, have you given mind to what you should do, or anything you want to do to help out and make the community better and more tolerant for everybody?
Well, to be perfectly honest, I haven't really given it a whole lot of thought yet. Other than just, making sure I keep an eye on people, making sure they're, not becoming closed-minded or shunning people just for their beliefs and stuff, and perhaps rather than, straight out going, "Oh, well, you shouldn't be that way, you should, open your mind," instead being more, continuing to be open-minded myself to people who may be a little more closed-minded, and see if I can help convince them to change a little in certain ways. Does that make sense?
Yeah, by all means. By all means, just not go all draconian on them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just instead of, unleashing righteous fury on them, more try to gently take their hand and be like, "Come on, let's try to, open up a little bit more. Think about it from a different viewpoint." Kinda.
Yeah. Yeah, I think you are among the admin team in the community, in our community at least, one of the more diplomatic. I am not the most diplomatic person I know, for instance. And there are others who have even shorter temperament than, well, both of us combined.
Well, you will find that it takes a lot to ruffle my feathers, as it were. It takes a lot to anger me and make me go all rar on people. But I am fairly open-minded myself, like really open-minded myself. And pretty much about the only thing that will really make me unleash a righteous fury on someone is if they try to attack someone I care about or view as a good friend or family.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So, yeah.
And even then, I hold back a little bit and try to see their viewpoint before I truly unleash hell almighty on them.
I think by the time, knowing you a little, I think by the time that you unleash hell, people well and truly deserves it.
Not very many people have seen me truly angry.
Nah, I can believe that. So,
and I have had friends who have bet that they could make me angry and have failed.
Well, yeah, maybe for the best, I would say.
Probably.
Well, it sounds like you are the type that when you get angry, you get really, really angry. So, and then it's no fun.
I'm kind of like the Hulk, you could say. You wouldn't like me when I'm angry.
You turn green? Okay.
No, more just his you don't like me when I'm mad or kind of thing, you know?
Yeah, I hear you. So...
I don't swell and turn green, thankfully.
Oh. I wanted to see pictures. So, but have you, and this might be stereotypical, but since you are a lady, um, have you experienced harassment, intolerance, sexist, racism, or similar within the gaming community? As again, not specific to Tyrannical Gaming, but in your time as a gamer.
Well, not since I've been with, not while Grev's been around, but I have in past experienced it some. Not as bad. Mostly it's been like, oh hey, you're an actual woman and you're actually gaming? Oh my gosh, this is some rare creature. But other than that, it's mostly just been like, I have had people who've been like, hey, why don't you come game with me, if you catch my drift, and stuff like that. I have met my fair share of douchebags in the gaming community, but they're not as bad as you would think.
Okay.
Nothing I couldn't really handle.
That's really good to hear. That's really good to hear. That made me happy. So yeah, I want people to have a good time gaming, just hanging out, doing silly stuff together, just making cool moments. So yeah. And yeah, the King is saying one thing here, that female gamers are not rare creatures. That's such...
Not anymore.
No. They used to be back when.
Yeah. I have had a lot of people who have been shocked to hear that I was a girl and a gamer, but it's lessened a lot in the more recent years.
Yeah. But I guess there are still some people that haven't adjusted to the fact that we are living in the 2000s, not 1980. So, yeah. So, how do you think people, the community as a whole, should deal with those that misbehave?
People that misbehave, hold on, sorry, one of my friends messaged me on Discord. As a whole, how they should deal with them, well, what do you mean by misbehave, in a way? Yeah, more specifically.
Okay, the bad guys. Those that are the active parties in...
The ones that actively show intolerance and bigotism kind of thing?
For instance, or those that share dick pics, by all means, and send them to NSA by no intention of their own.
Well, I do not think that we should, like, instantly ban those kind of people, but at the same time, if they cannot, open their minds or try to keep it in their pants, as you could say, then we should try to steer them away from the community in a little bit, at least keep them restricted, kind of thing.
Okay.
I'm not really one for outright banning somebody just because they got a little frisky or decided they didn't want to agree with somebody else on something.
No. We don't have to be super best friends all the time.
Yeah. I do believe in giving second chances.
Yeah, that's also quite important.
Or in my case, second chances, third chances, occasionally a fourth chance, but that's probably about as far as I'll push it.
To derail the conversation a little, maybe have you thought about doing something about that?
I've gotten a bit better about it. I used to be a lot more forgiving than I should have been. I have a lot of stories I could tell you of rough experiences in my past that have, probably shouldn't have happened if I had been a little less forgiving and a little more willing to say bye. But like I said, I've gotten a lot better at that than I used to be.
Yeah. Good to hear.
I've cut back to mostly just giving a 1 second chance, and that's about it.
Okay, yeah. So not completely Hobbit.
Yeah.
What about second chances? Yeah. And King brought up another point here about people that, can't keep it in their pants, but it's also a more general, I think, because in, for instance, this community, and, Gamers.com are lots of varied types, and that includes children. And it's very hard to know if
the person you are talking to is of appropriate age or not.
Yeah.
Yeah. When it comes to that, that's where the use of restricted channels is really nice. And trying to maybe see if you can kind of steer those kind of people towards those more restricted channels in order to make sure they stay out of the view of people who shouldn't see them.
Yeah. And that's one thing where I think that the moment you know that there are children around, you should be more than allowed to have quite strict rules for a number of reasons.
Yes.
So yeah, the internet is big enough that you can have child-free zones as well.
Yeah, and as Grove said, in the gaming world, there's always kids.
There are, yeah.
Even on somewhat age-restrictive games, you still have those kids whose parents let them play whatever they want, no matter what the content of the game is.
Yeah, that's a thing, and by all means, I do remember being tons of younger than I'm now. I did a lot of things. I poked my head into all the things I shouldn't, probably. Yeah.
I was a little bit more of a goody two-shoes in a way when I was younger. So I was fairly naive up until I hit college.
Okay. So if we have underage viewers, and I know for a fact we have, college, that's where it all begins.
Oh, yes. Oh, the college years. So many scars that will not go away. Things that cannot be unseen.
I would like to sit down with lots of you guys one time, drink a couple of beers, and just, do the whole campfire and tall tales thing. Just saying.
That would be fun sometime, yes.
With no underage allowed and nobody recording.
Yes, yes.
But yeah,
This could also be referred to as, in my high school years, known as back of the bus conversations.
okay, yeah. Yeah.
When I was in like middle school to high school, we would on the bus. The people who sat at the back of the bus always had the most interesting conversations, ranging from everything from inappropriate subject matter to talking about the cosmos.
Oh, and the game
everything
crashed.
That's awesome.
Ah.
Well, take two.
Space. Yeah, I'll load in. It won't take so long. We will make sure that the issue will be fixed as soon as possible. Thank you, Keen Software House. Improve your game, Keen. Anyway, I'm jumping into the game. This is Clang saying no to diversity. So, but we can actually continue talking. Ha 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 ha! Take that, game. The internet was built to withstand a nuclear war, so well, because we all know that there are people that have experienced harassment and bullying online.
Yes, and I have also experienced it myself.
Okay. Yeah. So,
and not just from gaming communities as well. I've experienced it through Facebook and other, online chat services.
Yeah. And I'm not going to ask you to rip open those experiences because that would be kind of bad of me. But for those people that have experienced that or are experiencing that, there might be some watching. Is there anything you would like to say to them?
Well, sorry, I have to think for a moment.
No problem.
Probably what I would say is just don't give in to it. Is probably the best thing. Don't give in to it. Don't let them convince you of things that you know are not true. And if it gets bad enough, seek help from somebody who might be able to help you otherwise. Whether it be a parent or someone older than you or a good friend. Somebody who can help you fight them off in a way.
Yeah.
But just don't let them convince you to change your mind.
Yeah. Oh, and I see that you're back and I'm back. I will do the insane thing. Yeah, I know there are, as chat is saying, this is all stuff, known stuff. But the thing is that these advice are kind of universal for a reason, I would say.
Yeah, they're pretty much the best one. It's the best kind of advice to take. It is probably the most helpful in a way.
Yeah. And bullying and harassment can be hell.
Yeah. The one thing I will say too, though, is a lot of times just going and telling someone else can also cause there to be major backlash. Like with the whole thing they have going on with the bullying in schools and saying that you should just go tell your teacher about it and stuff. Yes, that can help, but at the same time, it can also make the bullying worse.
Okay.
Because you will have those bullies that are like, oh, well, you're going to snitch on me. You need, going to run to mommy and tattletale kind of thing.
Mm.
So. sometimes you have to try to use your own strength as well to try to help yourself with it.
Yes, you have to. Absolutely. But one thing for me that is actually the mark of an adult is that when you have a problem, which you cannot fix yourself, you reach out.
Yeah, you are strong enough to ask for help when you need it.
Yeah. Because trying to tough it out, not always the best thing to do.
No. And the sign of like true strength is being able to actually say, I need help.
Yeah.
Because it takes a lot of strength to admit that you cannot do it on your own.
Yeah, no, and there are so much you can't do on your own. But we have this actually rather great society that's kind of made up so that we don't have to do everything alone.
Yep. And for every bad person in the world, there's at least 2 or 3 good ones.
Yeah.
Out there. You just have to find them.
Yeah.
They're not always prominent or waving their banner around, but they're there.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to get a certified good guy badge.
Yes, that it is.
Would be fun. I don't think it would carry much validity. Well, no, because no. So yeah. So as an extension of this, and going back to the whole gaming community, is there one thing you would like people to do right here, right now, to make a more tolerant and inclusive community?
Well, well, as that one song says, it you got to start with the man in the mirror. You start with yourself first, and make yourself more, or open yourself up to being more tolerant and open-minded, and then you can start to help reach out to others to help try to make them a little more open-minded and tolerant. As if you yourself have reservations about things or are closed-minded on certain subjects, then you can't really help others to see from someone else's viewpoint on that. If that makes sense.
Yeah. I hear you.
But aside from that, another way to do it would be, try to be a neutral party between people. If you see someone being somewhat closed-minded about a subject, ask them why they feel that way, kind of thing, and see if they'll explain to you their viewpoint on it and why they feel that it's wrong or that they shouldn't be like that, and then try to get the other person's viewpoint on why they should be and try to work between them and see if you can come to a more tolerable conclusion for them.
Yeah, that's been a topic that several people have talked about in the gaming community, that you treat each other with at least some respect, and maybe also when you come into a new community, just take it easy and get a feel of the place and get to know people a little.
Yeah, don't just dive in head first and think you know everything about it before you actually do.
That's a quick and easy way to get to make a lot of enemies.
Yes, it is.
Yeah. So, is there one thing that you mean or think that people, or if you had the power, you would get people to not do in the community?
As in the community as a whole?
Yeah.
Well, probably, sorry, Grev is making snide comments off to the side, and being goofy.
You have my permission to hit him.
One thing that I probably would do if I could to help change people of the community would or get people to not do as a whole, would be try to help people or to not take things at face value.
Okay.
Try to dig deeper and try to get to where you can truly understand what it is that you're hearing or seeing, instead of just saying, "Oh, well, it's this way, so it's got to be this way."
Okay. If you could give me an example, it would be easier for me to wrap my mind around this.
So, like, instead of someone saying, "Oh, like how," for example, all right, like with most people, when they find out that someone is a furry,
yep,
taking it at face value, they go, "Oh, well, you must be into, dressing up as an animal and having sex in animal costumes."
Yeah.
That's taking it at face value. If you dig a little deeper and don't take it at face value, you may learn that, well, they feel more connected through the animal's personification that they have, or that they do it as a way to be able to express themselves more easily to people they may not know, or people in general.
Yeah.
And it have in no way have any interest in said sexual acts.
Oh yeah. So basically, don't buy into the stereotypes.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Don't let mainstream media direct your thoughts on different subjects.
Yeah, that's really good advice. Don't take advice from people whose job it is to make a big fuss out of things.
Exactly.
Yeah. And I'm super happy that I have gotten to know so many and so diverse people in several scenes I'm at, because you look beneath the hood and you see that wow, not only are people, most of them are really nice people as well.
Yeah.
And even if people are doing something, for instance, I am not a furry. It's not my thing.
It's not everybody's.
No.
Each their own.
Yeah. But I'm super interested in learning about it.
It is actually quite an interesting community and belief system.
Okay.
For example, there's actually different levels of being of furries. There's furries, and then there's also people who refer to themselves as Therians, who are a little more in-depth in the furry community in a way. They more believe that they are not they are this. They have the soul of an animal encased in a human body. In a way, if I remember correctly, what I've learned about it.
Okay. Well, I don't know nothing, so I'm just going to take what you say at face value.
But this is it's what I've learned from others who are that way.
Yeah.
So.
But yeah, but I guess that they, and this is maybe the important thing, those are people as well, all of them. You are people.
Yes.
I am people. After
we are all truly people.
After coffee, though, at least in my case.
Yes. Coffee, the true equalizer.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. So yeah, actually be a little skeptical and say, okay, I have tons of prejudices, or maybe I have prejudices. Let me challenge those. That's actually a really good piece of advice. And yeah, and I think that can be applied to pretty much most, if not all, walks of life and questions where that pops up, and it does so all the time.
Yeah. It definitely applies to more than just like furries and stuff.
Oh yeah. Given these times, and I really don't want to get into politics here, but for instance, the views we have on people from the Middle East.
Yeah.
Yeah, tons of prejudices there.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and the media is one of those forces that kind of
strongly controls that.
Yeah, and helps to make a certain narrative become validated.
Yep.
And that's
which, for me, my view on that is they're people just like us. They have different beliefs and different views, but they're still of the human nature, of the human species.
They are very human, all of them, and
they should be treated as such and not treated as anything less.
No, and the same with furries, the same with homosexuals, with poly people, with the queer people. They're people, and they really deserve to be treated as such. Because being human kind of, at least for me, trumps all of those other things, because those other things are so secondary. So, yeah.
Yes, we are first and foremost human, and we must stick together to survive.
We kind of have to, yeah.
Unfortunately, not everybody shares that viewpoint, and thus we're somewhat surviving on our planet.
Yeah, well, yeah. This just suddenly turned into a talk about the apocalypse, so that's uplifting.
So I'm not saying that we all have to, join hands and sing Kumbaya and love everyone. But
No.
Being able to be more tolerant of our fellow humans and be able to look at their viewpoint and say, I don't agree with that, but it's cool that you have that view. It'd make the world a lot better.
Yeah, or more colorful, or yeah. I hear you. So, last question, because now you can feel free to just give out any and all random, interesting, amazing, funny, embarrassing facts about yourselves. Again, please don't feel that you are being pressured to share, because you're not.
Okay. Well, I'm not very good at talking about myself, honestly.
Huh.
I'm more, I like, if people ask me questions about myself, I am more apt to answer, but just flat out talking about myself, I'm not really one of those people that go, oh yeah, I can talk your ear off for hours about every aspect of my life and tell you every little thing about me, so you are sick of hearing me talk.
No, I wouldn't want that, actually.
Well, thankfully, I'm not one of those people.
Now, well, you did talk a fair bit about yourself in the beginning of this interview, and thank you very much for your openness.
You're very welcome. And if there's anything that I mentioned at the beginning that you would like me to elaborate on, I would be more than happy to.
That's a hard nut to crack. I don't know. I feel that I kind of know you quite well.
Or if there's anything any of your viewers would like to say or
open up.
know for me to elaborate on.
Okay, let's see if any of the viewers have anything they want to ask you about. Let's see. Slime is saying cheers. And singing Kumbaya.
Cheers, Slimy.
And singing Kumbaya. Yeah. Those young whippersnappers. No? Because now I have to think of questions, and I was kind of hoping that I didn't have to do that.
I'm sorry.
So, no. Oh! Actually a good question from Dancing Tango. Do you feel being a furry makes you a target for online harassment?
Well, in a way, yes, it does kind of make me feel a little bit like I could be targeted. It is one of the things that I don't, usually come right out and say, oh, hi, I'm a furry. But it's one of those things I kind of get a feel of the people I'm talking to before I open up about that. Because it is one of those things that can bring a lot of harassment out and a lot of intolerance.
Yeah. And why is that, do you think?
Well, it's in part mostly because a lot of people have a very closed-minded view of furries, thanks to a lot of things that have happened on mainstream media. A lot of the points that they've covered on the only sides of furries that they've covered, really. And it can cause people to be a lot more closed-minded and more apt to harass someone for being that way.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I have seen that episode, so yeah, I hear you.
Yeah, so have I.
I guess very many people have...
Part of the reason why my dad doesn't know I'm a furry, because he's also seen that episode.
Yeah, maybe one day we should have a chat, I don't know, in the community about that openness, but that will be for another time. Slimy is wondering if you feel that younger or older people are the more targeted by intolerance. Or, yeah.
Well, I have noticed that a lot of times it's the younger generations that are more open-minded than the older ones who are, set in their ways and were raised a certain way. A lot of the people that are, a lot of generations that are coming out now have been raised in a more open, more tolerant society in a way than some of the older generations who were raised that this is right, this is wrong, this is not acceptable behavior, in a way.
Yep. I think that's actually one of the side effects of the internet. Because there are so much, you're exposed to so much from so early. And
Sorry.
Go on.
I was going to say, for example, in my own family, my grandmother and my mom, for example, are not as open-minded about different things, like being gay or, well, actually, my grandma's a little less open-minded about that subject than my mom. My mom's a little more open-minded than my grandmother because she was raised in a different generation, and has experienced different things. But a lot of the generations are more, well, sorry, I'm starting to, well,
That's okay.
I lost my train of thought. It has left the station.
Yeah, no problem, no problem. The thought train crashed.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Error 404, thought not found.
yeah, no, I know the feeling. And Slime is bringing up a point that there seems to be intolerance among also the young ones.
There is. You will find, like, there are a few in the older generations that are more tolerant and more open-minded than some, and vice versa. You'll find those in the younger community, younger generations that are closed-minded and a lot less tolerant. It all depends in a lot of ways in how you were raised or what you were exposed to in your life.
Yeah, and also where you live, something like that.
That is also a big factor.
Well, there's a slight difference on many levels from coming from a small village in Pakistan to living in New York City, for instance.
Yeah.
There are, that's, yeah, so no matter, where you live. Grev talked a little about where who you are born to, where, and the whether your parents are super rich or not. That's of course a big issue.
That is, yeah.
So yeah, but all in all, I think and I feel the same as you that the younger ones are actually better than the old ones.
And who knows, we may, as time progresses, things may get more and more open and more tolerant. Hopefully.
Well, if you look at the statistics and the numbers and go back not that many decades actually, it's quite another world we're living in.
That it is.
Yeah, for the better. So until 2015 or 14, or nobody had heard about Clang, for instance. So then until last year, I hadn't. Well, that was when I stumbled upon this community. So yeah, and it has actually been very good for me. So the world is going in the right direction. Ish.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Not that many fun facts about you there. Oh well. Meh. That's okay. I don't have many demands for this. That would be silly of me. I am, however, super thankful that you wanted to come aboard and join me at Pride Station.
My pleasure. Like I said, I am open to talking about things. If, like I said, I'm not very good about just talking about it myself. And people have like questions they want to ask me and stuff, they can, and I'll gladly talk to them about it and express my opinions, and hopefully lead them to be more open-minded in the future, or lead them to take on a new perspective.
Yeah. I believe they might actually do that, because you are one of those people that can talk about lots of things, and you are so nice and diplomatic.
Thank you. I have been told that sometimes I am a little too nice.
Fair enough. I will not comment on that. I just know that we are not the same person.
As it should be.
As it should
If
be.
everybody was the same, then it'd be very dull. And like my son, my one son just recently did a stint on the book The Giver in his class.
Okay.
And if you've ever read the book The Giver, it's about a society where there are no emotions, there are no, they don't really have feelings and such. They don't see color.
Okay.
They are very restricted on how they express things, and in order to promote sameness among the people.
Ew.
They are, and the one called The Giver is the one that has the memories of how humanity used to be, war and joy and sadness and loss and all that stuff.
Okay. That sounds like a very interesting book, actually.
You should find it and read it. It is a very good book.
Yeah. And I think it
really makes you think.
Yeah, it reminds me of the plot for one of my favorite action movies, actually. So, yeah, Equilibrium. Where lots of the plot is about... it's about that they have, or they are doing a fairly good job in eradicating emotion. And as Dancing Tango says, wherever there's free speech, there's intolerance. I think that wherever there are humans with emotions, there will be conflict, there will be...
intolerance.
There will be intolerance.
Levels.
Yeah. So, so the only way to make a perfect society, and I say perfect society in massive brackets, is to make sure everybody is a robot model of everybody else. So.
Yeah.
Well, that's not my kink. Just saying. So anybody, anyway, thank you very much for joining me. I super appreciate it, and I am very grateful.
You're very welcome, and anytime.
Oh, I will remember that. And I hope that I will see you here in this world, well, the online version anyway, in about 24 hours. When we are... Yeah, that's when the main Pride event is.
Yeah, I will definitely try to be there for that.
Yeah. Not that it really matters, but it would make me happy. The more the merrier and all that.
Yes, yes.
Yes. All right. Thank you again very much. And thank you guys and girls and everything in between. And outside for being here in chat and watching this. If you're watching this on the YouTubes, thank you very much for watching that as well. All right. So, have a good one.